The phrase, "chosen one," has been worn thin by careless tongues, flung about as though it were a badge of superiority rather than a summons to humility. Yet there are moments when a soul feels itself quietly singled out, not for privilege, but for preparation. You may sense it even now, a peculiar stirring that cannot be explained by vanity or coincidence. It is the awareness that your life is being gently, persistently rearranged, as furniture is shifted in the dark by hands that know the room better than you ever could. And among these rearrangements is one that touches the deepest human longing of all, the alignment of your heart with another heart, the careful bringing together of two lives that were never meant to collide by accident. We often imagine that God's will announces itself with trumpets and unmistakable signs, as though heaven were a theater and we its audience. But more often, His work resembles a quiet correspondence, written in ink so faint that only patience can read it. The right person does not burst into your life like a thunderclap. Rather, you are led toward them through a series of small obediences, strange delays, and disappointments that now, in retrospect, begin to look like mercies in disguise. You were spared certain relationships not because you were unworthy of love, but because love itself was being protected from dilution, from being poured into a vessel that could not hold it. It is tempting in seasons of waiting to assume abandonment. We measure divine concern by speed, forgetting that haste is the enemy of depth. God is never late, though He often refuses to be rushed. While you counted the years, He counted the lessons. While you asked for companionship, He cultivated character. And while you wondered why others seemed to find so easily what you sought with tears, He was ensuring that when your meeting finally occurs, it will not be the collision of two half-formed selves, but the meeting of two people who have been quietly shaped to recognize one another. Alignment, after all, is not merely about proximity. It is about direction. Two people can walk side by side and yet move toward entirely different ends. What God is arranging is not simply that you meet someone, but that you meet them while both of you are facing the same true north. This is why certain connections, though intoxicating, were allowed to fade. They pulled you sideways, even backward, and love that derails the soul is never the love heaven intends. You were spared not because you failed, but because you listened, perhaps imperfectly, perhaps with resistance, but enough to be redirected. There is a peculiar shock promised in the discovery of the name, and it is not merely the sound of syllables spoken aloud. The shock lies in recognition. You will realize, perhaps all at once, that this person has been present in your prayers long before they were present in your life. You asked for peace, and here it stands before you in human form. You asked for truth, and here it speaks to you without pretense. You asked for growth, and here is someone who will not let you remain comfortable in your smallest habits. The shock is that the answer looks different from your imagination, yet unmistakably right in a way imagination could never manage. We are fond of lists when it comes to love, qualities desired, flaws tolerated, conditions imposed. God, however, works with transformations rather than checklists. The right person is not one who meets every preference, but one through whom you will be invited to become more fully yourself. This is why alignment requires solitude first. A soul that has never been alone cannot recognize companionship. It mistakes noise for presence and attention for affection. Your loneliness was not wasted time. It was a classroom in which you learned to hear your own thoughts clearly enough that another voice could one day join them without drowning them out. You may fear that you have missed your moment, that a wrong choice has closed the door forever. This fear misunderstands the nature of divine sovereignty, as though God were a fragile planner whose designs crumble at the first sign of human error. On the contrary, His plans are spacious enough to account for your missteps without endorsing them. What was truly meant for you cannot be stolen by a single mistake, nor by a season of confusion. Redemption is not an emergency measure. It is woven into the fabric of the story from the beginning. The alignment you are experiencing may feel at first like loss rather than gain. Certain attachments weaken. Certain conversations feel hollow. Certain ambitions lose their shine. This is not because your life is shrinking, but because it is being refined. Just as a lens must be ground down to bring an image into focus, so must your desires be narrowed to see clearly. God is removing what would blur your vision. When the right person finally appears, you will not have to squint to recognize them. Clarity, not chaos, will mark the meeting. It is also worth saying that the right person is not sent to complete you, as though you were half a soul wandering in search of its missing piece. Such language flatters our romantic instincts, but insults our humanity. You are already whole in the sense that matters most. You are fully known and fully loved by God. The person being aligned with you is not a replacement for that love, but a companion within it. Together, you will not escape dependence on God, you will discover new ways of practicing it. Notice how often the scriptures speak of names being changed at moments of calling and covenant. A name, in the deepest sense, is not a label but a revelation. When the name of the right person shocks you, it will be because it resonates with a truth you have been living toward without fully understanding. It will feel as though a word long whispered in your spirit has finally been spoken aloud. This recognition will not erase uncertainty, but it will anchor you amid it. You may be tempted to rush ahead, to force outcomes, to interpret every encounter as a sign. Resist this impatience, for forced fruit is always bitter. God's alignments are marked by a strange combination of effort and ease. You will still have to show up honestly, speak courageously, and love sacrificially. Yet beneath these efforts will be a sense of rightness, as though you are cooperating with a current rather than swimming against it. Anxiety may still visit, but it will no longer govern. Perhaps the most unsettling part of this alignment is that it exposes your remaining illusions. The right person will not worship you, nor will they allow you to hide behind your strengths. They will see your weaknesses without making idols of them. In their presence, excuses will feel thin, and growth will feel unavoidable. This is not because love is harsh, but because it is committed to truth. God does not align you with someone who flatters your false self. He aligns you with someone who calls forth your real one. As this alignment unfolds, you may notice a new patience entering your prayers. The frantic urgency softens into expectancy. You still desire, but you no longer demand. This shift is itself a sign that something is being prepared. Desperation repels clarity. Expectancy welcomes it. You are learning to trust not only the outcome, but the timing, which is often the greater miracle. And so you stand now in a peculiar middle space, no longer who you were, not yet who you will be when the meeting occurs. This in-between is uncomfortable precisely because it is alive with possibility. God is not teasing you with promises He does not intend to keep. He is inviting you to remain attentive, to keep your heart supple, to resist cynicism masquerading as wisdom. For when the alignment completes, it will not arrive as fantasy fulfilled, but as purpose clarified, and you will recognize that every delay, every silence, every unanswered question was quietly leading you toward this moment, where the next sentence of your life is about to be spoken, and the story, far from ending, is only beginning to reveal its deeper coherence as you continue walking forward, learning to listen, learning to wait, learning to trust the unseen hand that is still at work even now, shaping the path beneath your feet and the heart that walks upon it, guiding you onward into the unfolding mystery where recognition and obedience meet and where the alignment, though already begun, is still moving steadily toward the moment when all that has been prepared will finally step into view and call you by name as the rhythm of this unfolding continues without pause, carrying you further into the quiet assurance that nothing essential has been lost and nothing truly meant for you can ever be taken away as the journey presses on. And as you move forward within this assurance, you may begin to notice a subtle recalibration of your expectations. What once seemed essential now appears negotiable, and what you once overlooked now carries unexpected weight. This is not confusion, it is discernment being trained through experience. God often prepares us for the right person by first dismantling our attachment to the wrong ideals. He loosens our grip on fantasies so that our hands are free to receive reality when it arrives. Reality, after all, is sturdier than fantasy and far more capable of bearing the weight of a shared life. You may also find that your prayers have changed in tone. Where once you pleaded for outcomes, you now ask for alignment. Where once you demanded clarity, you now ask for faithfulness. This shift is not resignation, it is maturity. A soul that trusts God enough to relinquish control has already begun to participate in the miracle it seeks. For alignment is not only something that happens to you, it is something that happens within you. Your will, slowly and sometimes painfully, is being bent toward a willingness to receive what is given rather than insist on what is imagined. There is a peculiar loneliness that attends this stage, different from the ache of being alone. It is the loneliness of being misunderstood, of feeling out of step with a world that rushes toward easy answers and quick attachments. You may feel as though you are waiting while everyone else is settling, as though you arrived late to a feast that is already winding down. But this perception is itself a distortion born of comparison. God does not run out of provision because others have eaten. The table of grace is not diminished by attendance. Your portion is not delayed because it is smaller, but because it is specific. In this waiting, you are being taught to recognize substance over spectacle. Many relationships announce themselves loudly but collapse under silence. The alignment God is orchestrating will not rely on constant excitement to sustain it. Instead, it will be marked by a steady deepening, a sense that conversation can grow quieter without becoming empty. This is the kind of connection that can withstand suffering, monotony, and the ordinary erosion of time. It is built not on perpetual novelty, but on shared orientation toward truth. You may wonder why God involves himself so intimately in something as personal as companionship. The answer lies in the nature of love itself. Love is not merely a private pleasure, it is a formative force. The person you walk beside will shape your habits, your assumptions, and even your prayers. To pretend otherwise is naive. God's concern, then, is not simply that you be happy, but that you be formed well. Happiness that corrodes the soul is a poor bargain, no matter how intoxicating it feels in the moment. There will come a time, perhaps, sooner than you expect, when the right person enters your field of vision without drama. You may meet them in circumstances that seem almost disappointingly ordinary. No swelling music, no sense of destiny proclaimed aloud. And yet something within you will settle rather than surge. Peace, not frenzy, will be the dominant note. This peace will not be passive, it will be alert, attentive, and quietly courageous. It will invite you to step forward without demanding certainty about every step ahead. The shock of the name, when it comes, will not be the shock of surprise alone, but of resonance. It will feel as though a long unsolved riddle has suddenly found its answer, not because the answer was hidden, but because you were not yet fluent in the language it spoke. Names carry histories, and this one will echo with stories that intersect your own in ways both obvious and subtle. You will recognize patterns, shared values, complementary wounds, and a mutual willingness to grow rather than retreat when growth becomes uncomfortable. It is important to say that alignment does not eliminate choice. God does not override your freedom in the name of destiny. You will still be asked to choose courage over fear, honesty over convenience, commitment over escape. Alignment makes these choices possible. It does not make them automatic. Love remains a discipline as much as a delight. The right person will not rescue you from the need to choose well. They will stand beside you as you learn to do so consistently. As you approach this meeting, you may experience a renewed confrontation with your own fears. Fear of vulnerability, fear of loss, fear of repeating past pain. These fears are not signs that something is wrong. They are signs that something real is at stake. God does not anesthetize us against fear. He teaches us to move through it with trust. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear have the final word. You may also notice that your sense of identity has become less dependent on external affirmation. This too is preparation. A relationship built on neediness will eventually suffocate both participants. God is teaching you to stand securely enough that love becomes a gift freely offered, rather than a demand anxiously imposed. When two people meet from this place of security, their union does not shrink them, it expands them. There is a mystery here that resists reduction to formulas or timelines. Anyone who claims to have mastered the process of divine alignment misunderstands its nature. God is not assembling parts on a conveyor belt, He is cultivating lives. Cultivation takes time, attention, and a willingness to tolerate seasons that appear barren on the surface. Beneath that surface, roots are growing deeper, preparing to support what will one day bear visible fruit. You may be tempted, in moments of fatigue, to settle for something almost right. Almost right often feels easier than waiting for what is truly right. But almost right carries a hidden cost. It requires ongoing compromise of conscience, a steady numbing of intuition, a quiet grief that accumulates unnoticed until it becomes heavy. God's refusals are often merciful precisely because they spare you this slow erosion of joy. As alignment continues, your sensitivity to truth will sharpen. You will become less impressed by charm and more attentive to consistency. You will listen not only to words, but to patterns of behavior. This discernment is not cynicism, it is wisdom earned through reflection. The right person will not be perfect, but they will be sincere. Their flaws will be evident without being alarming. Their strengths will be real without being performative. There is also a spiritual companionship being prepared, one that extends beyond shared beliefs into shared practices. You will find yourselves drawn towards similar rhythms of rest, service, and reflection. This does not mean you will agree on everything, it means you will know how to disagree without eroding respect. God aligns not clones but complements. Differences, when held within a shared commitment to truth, become sources of growth rather than division. You may find yourself revisiting old memories with new eyes. Past relationships, once viewed solely through the lens of regret, begin to reveal their instructional value. You see now what they taught you about boundaries, communication, and the cost of ignoring red flags. This reframing is not self-justification, it is integration. Nothing in your story is wasted when it is surrendered to understanding. As the moment of alignment draws nearer, you may feel an increased invitation to trust silence. Not every question needs an immediate answer. Not every feeling requires analysis. Some truths arrive only when we stop interrogating them and allow them to reveal themselves in their own time. God speaks as clearly in silence as He does in words, provided we have learned how to listen. It is also possible that the right person is being prepared just as intensely as you are, perhaps in ways that mirror your own journey. They too may have known disappointment, confusion, and longing. They too may have wondered whether they misunderstood God's promises. When you meet, there will be a shared humility born of these parallel paths. Neither of you will arrive as a savior. Both of you will arrive as learners. The alignment will not remove the need for forgiveness. Misunderstandings will occur. Expectations will occasionally clash. What will distinguish this relationship is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of repair. God aligns people who are willing to apologize sincerely, forgive generously, and learn continuously. Pride fractures what humility sustains. You may notice that your imagination has grown quieter. Where once it raced ahead, constructing elaborate scenarios, it now waits more patiently for reality to catch up. This quieting is not the death of hope. It is hope maturing beyond fantasy. Mature hope is resilient precisely because it is rooted in trust rather than illusion. As you stand on the threshold of what is being prepared, remember that alignment is an ongoing process, not a single event. Meeting the right person is not the end of God's work, but the continuation of it in a new form. You will continue to be shaped together, challenged together, called together into purposes that extend beyond your private happiness. Love, when aligned with God, always opens outward towards service and generosity. And so the rhythm continues, steady and purposeful, inviting you to walk without rushing, to watch without grasping, to hope without demanding. You are not behind, you are. not forgotten. You are being aligned step by careful step toward a meeting that will make sense, not because it fulfills every expectation, but because it fits the person you have become through waiting, through listening, through trusting the unseen work that has been unfolding all along, carrying you forward into the next movement of the story where recognition deepens, commitment begins to take shape, and the quiet certainty that has been forming within you finds its echo in another life, moving alongside yours as the journey continues onward, unfinalized, still opening, still becoming, still guided by the hand that never ceased its careful work. And within this continuing movement, you may discover that time itself begins to feel different. Days no longer drag with the same restlessness, nor do they rush past in a blur of anxious anticipation. Instead, they carry a weight, a density, as though each moment were being asked to bear witness to something meaningful. This is one of the quieter signs of alignment, when impatience loosens its grip and the present becomes inhabitable again. God is not merely leading you toward a future meeting. He is teaching you how to live faithfully before it arrives. You may notice that your standards have become both firmer and kinder. Firmer because you no longer bargain with your core convictions for the sake of comfort. Kinder because you recognize the complexity of human frailty, including your own. This balance is not accidental. It is the posture required to love another person truthfully, without either idealizing them or dismissing them when they fail to meet an impossible image. The right person will not be placed on a pedestal. They will be met at eye level, where real encounter becomes possible. There is also a subtle strengthening of gratitude taking place. You begin to give thanks not only for what you have received, but for what you were spared. The relationships that ended, the opportunities that closed, the paths that seemed promising but led nowhere. All of these are gradually reinterpreted as acts of protection rather than deprivation. Gratitude of this kind does not erase pain, but it redeems it, allowing sorrow to coexist with trust rather than harden into bitterness. As alignment deepens, you may feel an increased call toward integrity in small things, how you speak when no one is listening, how you treat people who can offer you nothing in return, how you respond to inconvenience or delay. These details take on new significance. God is preparing you for a relationship that will amplify who you already are. Love magnifies character. It does not create it from nothing. The habits you practice now are rehearsals for the shared life to come. You may also sense a growing freedom from the need to explain yourself to everyone. The compulsion to justify your waiting, to defend your choices, to prove that you are not missing out, begins to fade. This freedom is not arrogance, it is rest. When your life is oriented toward God's timing, the opinions of others lose their power to dictate your pace. You become less reactive, more anchored, content to let your story unfold without constant commentary. There will be moments even now when doubt resurfaces. It may whisper that you are reading meaning into coincidence, that alignment is just another word for delay. Do not be alarmed by these thoughts. Doubt is not the enemy of faith, despair is. Doubt, when faced honestly, can sharpen discernment and deepen dependence. God does not demand that you silence every question. He invites you to bring them into conversation with trust, rather than letting them fester in isolation. As the path continues, you may notice that joy returns in unexpected forms, not the exhilaration of anticipati, on alone, but a quieter joy rooted in contentment. You laugh more easily. You savor ordinary pleasures. You find satisfaction in work well done and rest well taken. This joy is not a distraction from what you are waiting for. It is evidence that your life is no longer on hold. God is not postponing your living until alignment is complete. He is teaching you to live fully as alignment unfolds. You may also feel a renewed sense of calling beyond personal fulfillment. The question shifts from when will I receive to how am I being invited to give. Love that is aligned with God's purposes always overflows its private boundaries. The right person will not turn you inward in self-absorption. Together, you will be drawn outward into acts of service, creativity, and compassion that extend beyond yourselves. This outward pull is part of the alignment itself. As you grow more attentive, you may recognize small confirmations along the way. A word spoken at the right moment, a passage read that seems to address your exact circumstance, a conversation that clarifies what once felt muddled. These are not meant to replace wisdom or effort. They are gentle reassurances, reminders that you are not walking blindly. God does not overwhelm us with certainty, but He rarely leaves us without enough light for the next step. It is possible that the right person is already near the edges of your life, present but not yet fully revealed. Or it may be that they are still some distance away, being prepared in a context you cannot see. Either way, proximity is less important than readiness. Meeting too soon can be as harmful as meeting too late. God's timing is not arbitrary. It is calibrated to the work being done in both of you. As the alignment nears a new phase, you may experience a final testing of trust. Circumstances may appear to contradict the promise. Delays may intensify. Silence may stretch longer than expected. This is often the moment when faith matures from expectation into surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up hope. It means releasing control over how hope must be fulfilled. In this release, you make space for a reality that may be richer than anything you could have scripted. When the meeting finally deepens into relationship, you will likely be surprised by how ordinary the beginning feels. There will be no sense of having crossed a finish line, only the awareness of having entered a new chapter that requires patience, humility, and ongoing attention. Alignment does not guarantee ease. It guarantees direction. You will still need to choose one another daily, to listen carefully, to forgive quickly, and to keep returning together to the source of the love that sustains you. And even then, the work of alignment will continue, unfolding in layers you cannot yet imagine. Seasons will change, challenges will arise, joys will deepen. Through it all, the same quiet hand that guided you through waiting will remain present, inviting you again and again into trust. For this story was never about reaching a single moment of fulfillment and stopping there. It is about learning to walk faithfully within a love that is always being shaped, always being refined, always being called beyond itself. As you continue forward in this unended rhythm, attentive and willing, aware that what has begun is not closing but opening further, carrying you onward into the ongoing mystery, where alignment becomes shared journey in the promise, though already partially revealed, continues to unfold step by step, breath by breath, without conclusion, without finality, still in motion, still becoming. So let this be the quiet resting place of the words you have heard, not an ending that closes the door, but a conclusion that gathers the meaning into your hands and asks what you will do with it. You are not chasing a mystery that is running from you. You are walking toward a purpose that has been walking toward you all along. The alignment you sense is not hype, nor illusion, nor a promise meant to keep you suspended in longing. It is the steady, deliberate work of a God who wastes nothing, neither your waiting, nor your wounds, nor your hope. When the right person stands before you, you will understand that the shock was never merely in the name, but in the realization that every step, every delay, every quiet obedience was forming you into someone capable of receiving what love truly requires. Until then, remain faithful in the ordinary, courageous in the unseen, and patient in the unfolding, knowing that what is meant for you is not drifting randomly toward chance, but moving with purpose toward its appointed moment, where recognition will meet readiness, and love will no longer be imagined, but lived.